If you're watching this, it means that by now, most of the pricing advice you've been using or trying to implement is outdated. And it also means that most of the pricing strategies that you've been intending to want to use are also no longer working. And it's not because pricing has become hard, but because by now, most buyers are being smarter, AI has made delivery cheaper, and lastly, trust has become the new currency. And therefore, in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down 3 pricing strategies that I believe are going to dominate this very year and a few years to come. And therefore, if you're watching me for the first time, I'm Allan, the author of Price It book over there. I help early stage founders get to price with clarity, confidence, and later on get into cash flow. All this while using simple pricing frameworks. If that's something you find interesting, then let's dig in. But before we get deeper into details, I want us to first understand why is it that most business prices fail? And the reasons are quite simple. So the first one is overly informed buyers. Apparently, as of now, it is really hard to sell to most of the buyers out there. As it stands, most of people out there, or most prospects that we tend to sell to, are now well learned. They learn each and everything. Basically, all information as regards to whatever it is that we want to sell them, whatever problems we want to help them solve, is already out there on the internet. It's already out there free of charge. So that being said, it has become so hard to sell to people that have all the knowledge that is required. And the second reason, AI has lowered the delivery costs. It is not by coincidence that things that usually used to take hours and years and months to get done with or to be understood by the clients are now taking about a few months, a few weeks, a few hours to get done. What's even more scary is that all this is really achieved by minimal efforts from the buyers. Usually back then you would be pricing based on the efforts that you've been putting in, but now with the coming in of AI, delivery costs have become lower. The time of delivery or time of execution or things that would take years and months to get done are now being done in a few hours, in a few weeks, basically with zero minimal effort. The third reason, all features currently look identical. It is almost every business out there, most of the info business, all guys have the same kind of features. And with all this similarity in the features, it has now become so hard to distinguish between who gets to provide the best work, who does the real work, and who is it that needs to be trusted. Because when all things are being similar, it becomes hard for the prospects to make decisions on who to work with. And then lastly, trust has become the bottleneck. So with the coming going of AI, more so this year and years to come, it is never going to be that easier because AI has now created some sort of trust issues. You see deepfakes trying to put up some content. You see people trying to hide their faces. Everything's just an AI type such a way. So it is hard for people to now distinguish between what is really a true human and what is really AI. So with all the reasons as to why business prices keep failing out of the way, let's get to look at the strategies that are going to dominate this year and years to come. So starting off with the first strategy, authority pricing. With authority pricing, here you're not priced based on the market, but you're the anchor on the market. And therefore, people don't get to choose you because you're the cheapest in the market. No, that is never the case. But they choose you simply because you get to explain their problems. You get to explain stuff that are more relatable to them in the most easiest and clearly understandable ways. Now, here are the signs that will get to tell you that, oh, now you're in the right market. Now you're applying the authority pricing. First of all, if clients and prospects get to ask you, how does this work instead of how much does this cost, then you have the first sign. If they lean so much into how much does this work, then that is the sign that you are now an authority figure. You are now the anchor of the market. Everyone is looking up to you because you explain things better than anyone else in the market. But if they instead get to ask, how much does this cost? Trust me, you have to work so hard to reach that point where you're the price anchor or where you're the anchor in the market. And probably the best part when it comes to authority pricing is that when you're the authority in the market, when you're the anchor in the market, price resistance tends to be low because now everyone is coming to you not because you are the cheapest in the market, but they come to you because you get to explain things more better things more easily, and you provide clarity of the things that they tend to deal with in a more relatable way, more better than anyone else. If you like this video, please help me and boop that like button so that it spreads to other people. So heading on to the next strategy, which is outcome-based pricing. When it comes to outcome-based pricing, it is now here that buyers no longer get to trust the efforts that you get to put in, but they get to trust the more measurable outputs that they get to have by working with you. So if you were to put it differently, with outcome-based pricing, it is more of the outcome than the effort. And buyers tend to lean more into the outcomes that they get to have rather than the efforts you, the seller, you, the vendor, you, the early stage founder, get to put in so that they get the results. And normally, what gets to happen under the outcome-based pricing is that, one, you're always going to start pricing against the upside. And when I say pricing against the upside, it basically means that you're going to start pricing based on the outcome that they are going to get, not the efforts that you get to put in. The second thing, you start pricing based on risk reduction. When it comes to risk reduction, it is basically how much losses are you trying to help them avoid. So if you are to speak in terms of prospects, how much losses are they avoiding? That is what you're pricing against. So if you lower the risks and the losses they tend to have, that means you're going to benefit from this strategy. If you don't get lower, or the higher the chances of risks that the clients get to go into or go through, that means you're going to lose out on this pricing. But if at all your risks or all the chances that you lower their risk is very high, then you're going to come out as a winner when it comes to this method. And lastly, you're going to price against time saved. And when you speak of time saved, it is basically all about speed. How fast can you get them to get the outcomes that they want to have? How fast can they achieve the certain targets they want to have? If it is losing weight, how fast can you help them get to achieve the fact that they lose weight in the easiest ways possible? If it is making money, how fast can you get them from 0 to maybe 100 grand in a year, in a month, given the time schedule? So when it comes to outcome-based pricing, there's always this one simple rule that I always want to follow. And it goes like, your price should be around 10 to 30% of the value that you create to your clients. Let's assume they attach a value of maybe 10,000 on losing weight. Then your pricing should be 10% or 30% of the 10,000. That is how you're going to benefit out of this pricing strategy. And maybe to give you a heads up or a warning, the only way this pricing method is going to work is only and only if your problem is more clear, the outcome is even more specific, and the upside is more obvious. That means the advantages they get to have by working with you are more obvious or are clear, visible. And by the way, just to let you in on a small secret, Price It Right is coming out next month. So whoever wants to get to read it, yes, let me know in the DM and I'll send you a link just to keep you heads up. So let's continue to the last strategy. Strategy number 3 is power tire pricing. This is the most underused and most underrated method, yet it is one of the most powerful out there you'll ever get to apply, more so this very year and years to come. And before I even get to explain the working of how this power tire pricing gets to work, you really need to first understand these two concepts that get to drive the power pricing method. And the first one is, no one should ever get to pay the same prices in your business. That is one. The second one, no one in your business should ever get the same access either to you or the products or even the services that your business tends to offer. When you get to understand these two things, then power tire pricing is going to become a hell lot more easier than you ever think. And at the moment you get to also master them, then you're going to scale a hell way faster. Your trust is going to build 2x or 3x or even 10x, and then your cash flow is going to grow exponentially at the same time. And now you might be having a question. Now, the fact that I'm going to be offering some power tire pricing, what is it that gets to change given the fact that you're saying no one should ever get the same pricing in your business and no one should ever get the same pricing? What gets to change? It is quite simple. These are the things that get to change every time you to offer the power tire pricing. The first one is access. When it comes to access, you need to create different levels of access. Yeah, you maybe try to create the free access tier where everyone gets to have access to some portion or to some parts of the services or offers that you get to have. And from there, you can either choose to upgrade to a more premium tier, where they get only a few selected services or products in your business, or where they get to have access to you. Yeah? But feel free. The minimum access tiers you can ever get to create are probably three. That is the free tier, the medium tier or low tier, and then the more premium tier. So if at all there's anything that is confusing you, just have yourself create two tiers, a free access tier and a more premium tier. Where a free access tier, they get access to the basic information, the low ticket services that you get to have, all the free content that you get to put out. Yeah. But when it comes to the more premium tier, that is when they have access to you, or access to even the deeper insights of what it is that you get to offer. The second thing that gets to change is speed. So when it comes to speed, it is all about how fast can one get to have the outcomes. Yeah. So for this case, you can either choose to do a slow delivery, more so for people who are in the free access, or you can either to choose to give out the faster delivery. Yeah. So again, here you have to play around with the tiers. That means access and speed have to work in conjunction. Yeah. So either choose to do a faster delivery by an example. Let me just give you an example. Let's say you have a cohort of groups. Yeah. So you can either choose to say those that get to pay me 10,000, they are going to go work hand in hand with me so that they achieve the result they want to have faster. For those of you who are paying less than maybe $100 or $100, that means you guys, you're going to learn on your pace. You're going to do everything on your pace. I'll provide all the information, but the workings and what you'll figure out yourself. That way, they're going to have a slow progress to the outcome they want to have. But for those that are working with you, they have questions, they throw back the questions to you, you get to respond to them faster. They are going to pay you more more pricing or more money, right? So that is it. That is it about speed. And then lastly is proximity. Again, this is not now about the products that people get access to. It's not all about the services that people get access to, but it is all about access to you, the head coach, access to you, the business founder, access to you, the gym trainer. Yeah. So whoever wants to get direct access to you, let's say a one-on-one coaching, that means they have to pay a higher price to have you take them through that one-on-one. For those of the people that don't get to have enough money, they get to have like maybe a one-to-many kind of services where they have to come in group to have access to you. So that is basically what gets to change more so when you tend to give out those different access levels. And maybe to drive a point home. So here's a simple stack of how I get to do this power tier pricing on myself. Yeah. So first of all, I tend to have three tiers. That is a low ticket tier, which is always free, a mid ticket tier, which is not that free, but comes at a cartoon cost, like a small cost. And then finally, a premium tier. With this one, the difference is quite simple. With a low ticket tier, I tend to put out just maybe YouTube videos, maybe provide checklists, maybe give a brief motivation as it comes to doing stuff. Yeah. And it is specifically intended to all those who want self-service. Maybe they are looking at ways of how they tend to gain clarity on certain things that they want to do. Yeah. So this free tier or this low ticket tier tends to do the magic for them. And when they want to upgrade, or if they tend to use all the information right from the free tier, maybe they get to have some money on them. They then upgrade to a mid-ticket tier. So with this one, it's all about being guided. Yeah. So I tend to give this out because at this stage, I'm looking at them as people who want to look into wanting to uplift their confidence. Yeah. Maybe earlier on, they got some clarity, but they lack the confidence to take it a step further, to attain more of what it is that they learned, or to apply more of what it is that they learned without any fear. Yeah? So that is where I go ahead and do some guides. Yeah. So with this, maybe we work in groups, we work in cohorts. Once in a while, maybe 3 times in a month, I tend to come in, maybe they ask me questions, I get to answer like this AMA, like ask me anything. Yeah. So that is how it gets to work. And maybe I tend to provide in some like hints, I give in some swipe files, I tend to give in some guides. Yeah. So all this comes in handy. Maybe they pay some extras to have a brief access to me. And then finally, the more expensive one, which is the fast premium tier. As the name says, it is fast. Now, after knowing all these pricing strategies, what is the way forward? And the fact that you've watched this video till this point, I'm going to give to you what I would want to call the decision map that you can get to follow this year and more years to come, so that you get to have a proper pricing flow. I would like to call this the PDM, that is the pricing decision map. So here's how it works. It starts with having one question in mind. And that one question is, where does trust come in my business? Put differently, you would say, where does trust come in from the offer that I try to provide to my clients? And the answers I expect always get to fall under these three categories. It is either going to be authority, that is authority outcome, or it is going to be measurable outcome, and lastly, it is going to be relationship outcome. So here's how to gauge yourself. When it is more of the authority outcome, then get to apply the authority pricing. And when it comes to become more of the measurable outcome, then get to apply the outcome-based pricing. And finally, if it is more of the relationship depth outcome, then get to apply more of the power tier pricing. And that being said, that is how the game of pricing is going to be played from now, this year, and more years to come. And maybe a quick reminder that I need to leave you out with is, if you're still confused about what it is that you're going to be pricing from now onwards, it is basically because you're trying to mix up the strategy. You're trying to mix up the authority, trying to mix up the outcome-based, and trying to mix up the power tier pricing. But just to give you a heads up, from now onwards to more years to come, pricing will never get to be the same. It will never get to be about what it is that you get to charge, but rather more about why clients, why prospects get to feel safer buying from you.